Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome inside the Fan Cave. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. As the title suggests, call us every single night of the week. That's every night, 7 nights, 412-575-2600. That's the number of the Bordas and Bordas hotline. You can also hit us up on Twitter at KDPomp, at the Pony Express. Andrew Fillipponi, who does just about everything in this town right now. He's got a million hats on. And so now you're on the show here tonight after spending all day in the radio. And I'm going to have to believe that the number one topic was the Penguins. We'll get to the Pirates in a bit. They're playing in L.A. tonight, but the Penguins had a very busy weekend. And they also brought in Will Butcher tonight, another defenseman who's been around the NHL in a while under $775,000. 9 signings, but the biggest name was Tristan Jarry. He's back, and that is not necessarily surprising. What is surprising is the term under which he signed. 5 years, that's a lot of money, and a $2 million plus raise for a guy who to me, didn't seem to have all that much in terms of leverage. But Andrew, how did it get done?
I guess the Penguins were just resigned to their fate with him, that they looked around, they didn't like what else they saw out there. I think Kyle Dubas was influenced and persuaded by Mike Sullivan. The people inside that building, I believe, wanted to keep Tristan Jarry, and he did not have a strong enough argument to move in another direction, to go against everybody else who had worked alongside the guy. I'm baffled by it, Bob. I'm not a huge fan of it whatsoever. Tristan Jarry is 28 years old. That's not a spring chicken in the hockey sense, and he's done nothing but either flame out and lose in the playoffs or be unavailable. So either is a fragile player from an injury standpoint who just I don't say this in a malicious way. He just has a hard time getting through the full 82-game season, the demands physically that the position brings with it, and when he is healthy, he doesn't get it done. So I didn't want him back really under any circumstance. This has the potential, I think, to close the window on the Penguins' ability to win a Stanley Cup with Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, and Chris Letang, because I don't think their goaltender is good enough to win them a championship.
Yet he does have the talent when he's on his game and healthy, at least during the regular season. He has proven that in a couple of years with all-star appearances. But, getting down to the postseason, that's when it all matters, especially for this team. It's not so much what they do in the regular season, it's how they produce in the postseason. And he's been injured, and when he's not injured, he's not putting up the kind of performances. And then last year, he had a chance to win a game against Chicago, and that could have changed the dynamics of everything there. Could have kept their playoff streak alive. But listen, I looked around at those out there, didn't see all that many that, there were some veterans, sure, you could have brought in if you wanted to. It's interesting to me today, Andrew, that John Gibson has pretty much stated his case. Not only does he request a trade, he pretty much demands one and says he'll never play again in Anaheim. So that's a little strong. It's almost an NBA type of take for a goaltender.
John Gibson makes $6 million a year. I think there's 4 years left on that deal. He has not really been a good goaltender if you look at the numbers in 3 or 4 years, but a lot of it has to do with the players around him. That's a big risk, but no bigger now than Jarry. You'd have to give something up to get him. I mean, we're all talking about hypotheticals now because the Penguins have made their Jarry bed. But if you were to ask me who has a better chance of being an elite goaltender over the next 5 seasons, I would probably pick Gibson. I just have no faith in Jarry, Bob. I mean, all-star games mean absolutely nothing to me. That's what you get. You get rewarded on that for a half season. I've seen the guy put together 20 or 30 games of solid hockey, but that's it. He hasn't really, to me, had an 82 game. I think the most he's ever played in a season is 40-something or 52 or 53 games. So I was ready to move on from the guy. And the only thing to me that would change my outlook on the Penguins is if they can get this Erik Karlsson trade done. And if you look at what Elliot Friedman from Sportsnet reported tonight, he still thinks that dream's alive. Now, if that were to happen, now you're talking about a 101-point defenseman who had his best statistical season ever this past season, and he's on his 3rd Norris Trophy. So that would be a huge move that would have me thinking completely different about the Penguins. But short of that, Bob, I still look at them as a team that's right on the fringe of making the playoffs. I would say yes right now, but I wouldn't say anything more than that with them. I don't think they've improved their team that much where I now look at them as a Stanley Cup contender.
Even though they lost Jason Zucker, who was their grittiest player, they have brought in some grit, which I like to see. I like the Ryan Graves signing. I like some of the guys like Achara who've come in, and they have that sort of sandpaper thing you hear hockey players talk about all the time. They need a lot of that. But then I wonder, you mentioned that Carlson trade, and I got to go to a break, so I'll bring this up and we'll continue to talk about it with callers. You can weigh in as well. I don't know how that gets done. I have no idea how they make that happen with a guy with an $11 million cap hit. They got to move money. Obviously, they still have guys they want to get rid of. San Jose wouldn't be interested in any of them. They would want maybe Jake Gensel and some draft picks. Who knows, because he's not yet signed. We'll get into that and more as we continue. It's 412-575-2600. We're right here live, Pittsburgh CW, and simulcast on 93.7 The Fan. Call now. We'll get you on.